Hi everybody,
Hi.
welcome to day 37 of Sweet Honey in the Rock, where we
Yes. Day 37. It is rocking
deep dive
and rolling
into
Tuesday.
Genesis, chapter 37, good.
Yes.
So, going to do a
Tuesday
recap.
the 25th of June. You even put the date up there.
Tuesday the 25th of June, so do a recap on our reading and our day, and maybe some thoughts and takeaways around chapter 37. And then some final thoughts. So chapter 37 begins the story of the one and only Joseph. Yay!
Yeah.
The second youngest of Jacob, Israel's 12 sons. Good. So, a very familiar story. But let's start at the beginning. So Jacob lived in Canaan, where his father Isaac was a stranger. And then it talks about the generations. Goes on to say in verse 2, the generations of Jacob. But then after that, there's no genealogy listed or that. It starts with the story of Joseph. So out in the field with the sons of Bilhah
And
Zilpah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And he brought back a bad report about his brothers. That's not good. And then Jacob, it says Jacob loved Joseph the most out of his sons because he was the son of his old age. And he made Joseph a multicolored coat, tunic, covering. We had a little discussion about this, or maybe at the end of the recap. And then sharing his first dream, and he was talking to his brothers about how they were out in the field binding sheaves, and that their sheaves bowed down to his sheaf. And they said, "What, are you going to rule over us?" And so they hated Joseph all the more. Then he shared his second dream, and this time his dad, Jacob, was there, and sharing the dream around the 11 stars, sun and the moon bowed down to him. And this time Jacob said, "What, me, your mother, we're all going to bow down to you?" And again it states that Joseph's brothers hated him even more, but Jacob kept the words in mind.
Yeah, that was pretty.
And then one day, Jacob sends Joseph out to look for the guys who were pasturing the flock, and he met a man. It says he met a man, and I believe it was an angel. And he asked the man, "Oh, have you seen my brothers?" Yada yada, and he was saying, "Yeah, they're out pasturing flock out near Dothan, Dothan. And so as he was approaching from in the distance, the brothers could see him, and they plotted to kill him. They plotted to kill Joseph, but Reuben said no.
Reuben wanted to remove him from the pit eventually.
So he said, "Let's put him in a pit," and his plan was to come back and retrieve him and return him to his dad. And so they agreed to that. They stripped him of his clothes, and then they put him in the pit where there was no water. And then
They see the Ishmaelites.
yes, the Ishmaelites or Midianites, I think interchangeable. And so they sold him into slavery, and Reuben returned, and he rent his clothes, seeing that the pit was empty and that his brother was gone. And so the brothers, they killed a kid, a kid as in a baby goat, not a child, a kid, a baby goat, and they drenched the tunic in blood. And then they took the tunic back to Jacob and asked him, "Is this the tunic of your son Joseph?" He said yes, and then he rent his clothes and he put on sackcloth, which in the Amplified says is a very rough, coarse type of cloth of material which you put on yourself during mourning. And it says, and this is really, it's a strong image where the sons and daughters tried to comfort Jacob, but the Bible says that he would not be comforted, and he says that he would go down to Sheol, the place of death, mourning for the loss of his son. And then, meanwhile, Joseph was sold by the Ishmaelites to Potiphar, who was the captain of the guard for Pharaoh, officer of Pharaoh.
How they changed the name, and the Midianites, but then they say the Ishmaelites are up here, the Midianites down below in the last verse. And then, the captain of the guard, Pharaoh, ends up taking him, but he gets sold for 20 shekels.
20 shekels. I was thinking, it's the same as Judas in the New Testament, but he was 30 shekels. Yes, 30 shekels. But there's some interesting points to take away from today's reading. Excuse me, my hand is a bit sore. That, and we've got a bit of a... got a guest there. A few guests.
Film. She will not like that.
So, some of the takeaways, like, was it good of Jacob to make Joseph the multicoloured coat, the multicoloured tunic? Because that straight away would put his other sons in two minds, or, would cause jealousy, saying that, Dad's made an effort to favour this particular brother, so that didn't help. And also,
how kids are like, that's your favourite.
Yeah,
you get a lot of that.
The other thing also I was thinking about at the beginning, because he was with his dad, he wasn't out helping his brothers, but he was hanging out with Jacob in the tent, so maybe he was like his dad.
His eyes and ears for...
in the tent, unlike Esau, who his uncle was a hunter and out in the field. So that was another thing. But then, it was Judah. It was Judah that said to sell him to the... But okay.
Yeah.
This is our youngest summer, so we're doing a podcast, Sweet Honey in the Rock. We're on day 37, summer, in the book of Genesis. Okay? Yep. And make sure you go to school, so that's good. Okay. Where?
No. I want to have it.
Okay.
No.
So, some of the other learnings today, dear, from yourself, or...
my learnings were...
Or takeaways?
My takeaways.
Summer, don't do that to your sister.
You have to get out.
Hey, just leave her, she's fine. Real life.
Just the magnitude of hate that the brothers had for Joseph. How easy it was for them to just let's just go and kill him. That he would rile them up that much. That was... I mean, you see murders today where the brothers and sisters, or brothers killing brothers, but it was just a lot of contention, ugliness that came through.
When you look at your life growing up and your siblings, did you notice any of your siblings that was favoured by your parents over others? I think at one point you shared with me in the past about yourself and your the youngest sister, Scylla.
Yeah.
You two were quite spoiled compared to your older siblings.
Probably. But what I noticed, in here, had they been able to talk to their dad and communicate their feelings? Today, we're in this generation where people are more in touch with their feelings, or more in touch of, this golden opportunity to get over our trauma, whereas the last generation didn't. And the generations before, never, but this generation, or we're living in a time where there's no excuse for you to live in your own trauma, whereas these guys, the brothers and, and possibly Jacob, he was sold to his wife for some, mandrakes. It's kind of undealt with trauma in his own, with Esau as well. Whereas today we have all the, different things available. A lot of people say, only Jesus can can do that. But let's look at how we go to a doctor when we're sick, or how we go and get some medicine when we're not well. We're not going, oh Jesus, you know. It's the same thing, just that it's fixing the mind and the body and the soul issues to get us on the right track. And it's no different from going to the doctors and asking for, you know, we're sick. And I think we're in this generation where we're able to get that help if we so desire, or feel like God's leading us to either therapy or, you know, in my case, I have a coach, so helps me keep on track. He's not my pastor, he's not my teacher, but he just asks really good questions to get me moving, and it's a relationship, like it's not a transactional thing. So that's one thing I got from the story of Joseph. You know, the boys didn't have anywhere to vent or to say to their dad, or, you know, there was just no communication. And everything happens for a reason, don't get me wrong, but there's things, observations that I took from this passage that I thought, wow, you know, lots have happened. Like, didn't Bilhah sleep with Reuben? And it's just states in the Bible, but it doesn't say, and that was it, you know, full stop. It's like, yeah, and then, you know, things happen from there. Jacob ends up cutting him off because of that. But that was my observation anyway. Yeah. What about you?
No, just the stuff that I mentioned before about favouritism amongst siblings, and what Jacob's feeling around that from reading. Obviously, he didn't have an issue with it because, of course, he made the multicoloured tunic or robe for his son, his special son, the son of his old age. But I don't know, as a parent, as a grandparent, is it bad to favour a child? I mean, we always say, oh, we love all our kids equally. But even this morning, having a little Talanoa, that was okay. That's no.
What's a Talanoa about?
Well, we're talking about favouritism.
Oh, yes.
And so that will be...
We both agreed that we spoilt the youngest one. And it says in here that Jacob was affectionate to Joseph because he was born in his old age.
And if it ends up that someone becomes like Joseph and ends up saving the whole future generations of Sāngalas, then, hey, is favouritism a bad thing? But...
that is not even...
I'm just saying, we love all our kids equally. It is an observation. I wouldn't say so much favouritism, but maybe being the younger, she does get away with her older siblings are always saying, oh, she gets away with... Do you find that a lot with the youngest one saying about, the older kid, she's always getting away with things, we were her age. Anyhow. Yeah, sorry, you were going to say something? Or?
No, you said it right again.
Righty-ho. Well, that's us. Thank you as always. Or was there anything else for this evening from yourself, lady?
No. Need to get to bed early.
Yes, it's nearly 10:30. Thank you as always for joining us today, family. Really appreciate it. Tomorrow we're going to go into chapter 38. Feel free to like the page, Sweet Honey from the Rock, and a book. Feel free on the book you can purchase your own copy of Sweet Honey from the Rock. Sweet Honey from the Rock, and join us every day. We'd love to hear your thoughts and sharings around the reading of the day and what you took from it, and also how your life journey through practice, the acronym. Practice again, Albert. Practice.
Yes.
P.
P is for prayer.
R.
R is for read.
A.
Action your goals.
C.
Cash.
T.
Like keep track of your spending daily. T. Time to relax, deep breathing throughout your day. Intake. Track your water and daily nutrition.
C.
Conversations, heart to heart, at least 5 minutes every day.
And E.
Exercise, walk, workout, you choose, at least 30 minutes or more.
Very good. Okay then, everyone. Well, thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate it. And go out and change the world. Good evening.
Night.